Hello everyone and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm your host today, Sandra Siepak, and with us on the program is Karen Banfield. She is an author, writer, and public speaking expert. Welcome to the show, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to educate our viewers a little bit about some public speaking skills, so I was hoping you could share some of your views on public speaking today.
Oh, I'd love to. You know, public speaking is one of the biggest fears that most people have. And I know because it took me a long time to be a public speaker. Before I was teaching writing workshops and doing my emotional healing work with people, I worked in the performing arts. And I thought I had a handle on an audience because I would get up and I could sing and I could be any number of characters, but when I had to get up and just be who I was in front of other people, that is a whole terrifying thing.
And it is. I think fear holds a lot of people back from public speaking. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. And the way that I deal with fear is I get it out of my body. And I do that by drawing it. I say, what does fear look like? So I draw what it looks like, and to me it's like a black spiky ball. And then I say, if you had a voice, what would you be saying to me? And it's usually, you're not good enough, and you need to hide away, and fear is all about keeping you safe. But once you can get fear out of your body, then you experience what it's like just to be this being that's full of light and purpose and beauty. And that's a very empowering thing.
Well, I think, many people experience public speaking throughout their lifetime for different reasons. Of course, in school, you have to get up in front of the class and speak. And then again, when you go to work, you have to get up in front of your peers at work and speak. And even as a senior, you have to speak when you're, with people. So I'm sure you see people at different stages of their life.
I do.
Let's start with some of the young people out there. What would you give as far as advice for young people who are just starting out in school?
Well, there are three things that make up a good speech, and it doesn't matter how old you are.
Okay.
The first one is that you can't just memorize something and download it from your head. That's what people like to do. You need to show up and really be in your body and come from your heart.
Okay.
The other thing is you need to claim your space. And I remember an interview with this black woman who had been a slave, and the interviewer said, "How could you sing in the fields when your life was so tormented?" And she said, "That was the only thing we got to own, was the air around us." So it's really important to show up. Just the same thing that makes a good speech is the same thing that makes a good human being. To show up, to be authentic, and to claim your space. Those are three important things for any age.
Right, and I think, it starts with kids when they have to get up in front of the class. They're terrified sometimes.
Terrified.
Is there a secret to getting up in front of the class and not being terrified? What could you do?
Well, I think it's like having a dialogue with that fear.
Okay.
Being able to, I think it's really valuable to draw it and then to hear what it says, because usually what it says is not true. And to feel what your body's like without it.
Now, I understand you do help some kids here in Ventura County. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing there too.
Well, I've been working with children that do the annual pageant at the Oakview School.
Okay.
And that's been a really wonderful experience. They start at age 10 and go up, and they're so incredibly brave because they're dealing with what we consider the biggest fear. And then they're showing up, and by being as real as they can be, they're giving the gift of themselves to the audience. And they're being judged. They know they're being judged. So I just feel like to appreciate, really fully appreciate what these young people are going through at that age, and how that translates to the world is that when they learn to be an authentic human being, they're not going to go into the world and say, "Give to me, tell me I look nice, tell me you like my car, tell me you like my, fancy credentials." They're going to go into the world and say, "How can I serve? How can I make the world a better place?"
Right. I would think confidence has a lot to do with speaking well. Is that true?
Confidence only comes from practice.
Okay. Okay. All right.
You just have to practice and practice, and that's why Toastmasters is so important.
Okay.
It gives you a place to get over your jitters. And when I started Toastmasters, I was really afraid. And through practice and the kind of wonderful supportive environment that you'll find there really helps.
And I think, public speaking is something that you take throughout your life in so many different ways. It plays such an important part. It helps you, of course, as we talked about, in school and in work, but it also plays a part in relationships. You literally have to present yourself to somebody. And in meeting people and getting to know people, and certainly in dating and marriage and some of the things that go along with your everyday life. What would you say to viewers that are interested in knowing more about how they could better themselves in speaking to people they would like to meet, so to speak?
Oh, so you're talking about social skills.
Yes,
I feel like, for me, social skills are very different than leadership skills.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I teach classes in writing, and the whole idea is you have introverted writers.
Okay.
And then at the end, they launch their work in a performance for other people. And it's a huge stretch for them to get up and say, okay, I've written this, it's very raw, it's very close to my soul, and now I'm going to share it with you. And it's a huge process, and it takes them to a whole other level with their work, that they are willing to step up and say, yeah, I'm going to try this. So it's just moving through that barrier that says you can't do it. It's just taking the risk and saying, I'm going to tackle this. And it was huge for me to tackle it. I just had so many obstacles, and I'm so grateful I got to the other side, and I wasn't sure I was going to at one point.
When you do talk to people and present public speaking skills to them, what are some of the obstacles that you face head on and that you do try to help them with? Are there certain things that people are scared of? Are they afraid of making a fool out of themselves in front of people? Or what kind of holds them back?
Well, I think, that's the voice of fear. I may, make a fool of myself. I went through that myself, and it's a process, and you have to kind of dig down and say, where is the root of this fear coming from?
Okay.
And that can take time. I remember after I'd given a speech, and I was still shaking, and I was so mad, and I said I was actually in tears. I said, I will never overcome this. I will never overcome this. I don't know how to make it better. And a man came over, and he said, my wife told me when somebody's crying that I should not talk to them, I should just give them a hug.
Oh, okay.
And so he gave me a hug, and I said, I want to send this part of me away. I don't know what to do with this. I said, I want to send her to Bermuda. And he said, Karen, you have to own that part. You have to love that part. You have to be with that part. And I was like, well, I didn't want to send her to Beirut where she's going to get blown up. But it's a long process to really confront the darkness that we carry, and usually it's from a very young place.
Is it really?
Yeah, it really is.
So it starts early on. I mean, it really does start early on.
Oh, absolutely.
So what you do maybe in your younger years is really invaluable later on.
As a child, I made my way to church because I loved to sing. I didn't care what church it was.
Okay.
And there was this lovely woman named Adrian who had this big gap between her front teeth, and she said, I'm going to train your voice. And I said, good. So pretty soon I was just about waist high, and I was singing solos in church, but my hands were going like this, so I had to have somebody hold my sheet music.
Okay.
And all of those people said, you'll outgrow this, but I did not outgrow it. I did not. So it's not just time, it's addressing the root. You really have to address the root. And when I was in the performing arts, I was okay because I was dealing with this mass of humanity that was hidden in the darkness. All I could see was footlights, and I wasn't being myself, so I could go out and I could do it. But when it was just me face to face with other people, I had to confront many things.
And it brings me to something that I have in my own life. I have a very good friend of mine who's extremely shy. She is like so shy. I'm so outgoing. So the two of us get along great because our two personalities mesh a little bit. But how could I help her, or what would you suggest for somebody out there who's very shy and wants to be a better public speaker and just can't get over that like hump of being so shy?
I worked as a mental health therapist for many years, almost 30 years, and
again, is it practice?
You have to go to the root.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go into Toastmasters and practice. You can go to a speech coach and practice, and you can make your way. But I think you really have to find somebody who does healing work and say, go to the root. Find out what it is that's making you so frightened, because it's an experience. It's a voice. I mean, when my mother and father used to fight, I would stand between them and I would say, no. And my father would be very angry and he said, nobody cares what you have to say. And that is a message that went in me. And I didn't even, I mean, I know I heard it a lot, but I didn't really honor what that did to me until I went digging around. And it's like, oh my gosh, nobody cares what I have to say. No wonder I can't speak without shaking, you know? So people have that.
I think one thing that I had seen about you is that you tell people to keep going, you can do this.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that message and how we can translate that to viewers out there, what you would say. Keep going, you can do this, you can do this. I think that's such a good message for people to learn from.
Well, I am so committed to getting people's voices into the world, because if you can come out from underneath the shadows of your life, I mean, look at the state of the world right now. We need heart-centered people more than ever, people that aren't afraid to step up and say, I'm going to address this issue. And I'm not going to address it from some big power place. I'm going to address it by being fully who I am and stepping in and say, let's work on this. And people have, everybody's unique and everybody has such wonderful gifts. And it's so important that people get their voice into the world. Everybody has something different to give. And I feel very sad when I think of people staying at home and knowing that there's all this inside of them that wants expression, it wants life. And they don't know how to give it life. And I just want to say, no, let me help you. If it takes healing work, I'll do it. If it takes practice, let's do it. If it takes whatever it takes, come and do it and try. Like my writing class, they're beautiful. And then at the end, when it's time to perform, it's like, everybody has everything coming up. And they think, oh, well, maybe I'm going to get sick. Maybe I can't do this. You know, so it's that energy that wants to cripple us, and it's, keep going, you can do this. It just has to.
I love that line. I think that's a great message for people out there to learn from. Keep going, no matter what you do in your life. I think, that's something you have to, anything that's worth out there and worth attaining is going to take some hard work, whether it be public speaking or anything else. So yes, keep going, you can do this. That's a great message for not only kids, but young adults, and even seniors. They have to keep going too. A lot of times you don't want people to give up. And I think especially in public speaking, you have to be very, very secure in knowing that you can get up and do this and you can get through it. I think that's important.
And just get up and do it, even if you can't get through it. Just get up and do it. Just get up and try.
Absolutely. Trying is everything. I think that makes a big difference.
It really does. And my oldest speech client right now is 82, and she's still out there.
God bless her. Wow, that's
I know.
great.
She looks like she's like 65, and she's just out there because she has a message. Her message is so important, and she still has a lot of fear, but boy, she stands out there and she goes, this is my message. It's important, and whatever I'm feeling, never mind how scared I am, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to say, this is my message. I'm giving it to you as a gift. I want you to have it. And then she goes home and it's like, oh my God.
Well, Karen, you have given us some great advice and some great tips on public speaking, whether you're young or old. In between, I think it's really important that we have learned that no matter what, keep going, you can do this, you can make everything that you do count. And I want to thank you for being with us today on the show and sharing some of those things with us
Oh,
today.
it's really a pleasure. I just want to say, if you'd like any more information, you could visit my website, and it's just www.karenbanfield.me.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing today. We all appreciate you being here. And
My
thank all of
pleasure.
you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.